Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unleash Her. Hey, I'm Roberta, and I am your host for the podcast today. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I can't wait to introduce my guest to you for today. But listen, if you are here, make sure that you follow and subscribe to the podcast. We are on all major platforms. And also, if you're not already, head on over to my YouTube channel so you guys can watch us and you'll be able to see and understand the people that are speaking to you. It's at Roberta Campbell Official on YouTube. So head on over there and check us out. But today, I'm so excited to introduce you to a new friend of mine, Jake Smolerek. He is a life and business coach with over 20 years of entrepreneurial experience and 16 years as a coach. He specializes in helping entrepreneurs and aspiring business owners start, scale, and grow from 0 to 2 million, 5 million, and 10 million plus in turnover. Oh my gosh. Without further ado, welcome Jake Smolerek. Hi, Jake.
Hi, thank you very much for having me today. That's awesome.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm sure myself, along with everyone else, can't wait to hear your story. Okay. So, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you said, I am a life and business coach now. I also run a small digital marketing agency that helps quite a bit with helping
Mm.
entrepreneurs. But yeah, I came to the UK from Poland just over 20 years ago. I was 19 years old. I had 150 pounds in my pocket, which is about $180.
Mm.
And I, with communicative English, let's say. So it's not that I haven't spoke English at all. It was okay-ish, and I just had a big dream, and I didn't know what to expect. I was just like, just do it.
Wow, that's amazing. I feel like that takes a lot of confidence just to do something like that. Or or were you not forced, but I mean, what led you to that, making that huge decision to make such a huge jump at a young age?
Uh, like I just wanted to see the world. Poland is a beautiful country, at least now, very developed. A lot of people would be surprised if they would go to Warsaw or Krakow or one of those major cities. But 20 years ago, not so much, at least not yet, right? And I just wanted to go and see the world, and I decided like, just London. London is like next to New York, like capital of the world in the central of Europe, right? So it's just like I want to see the world. I want to see that place, that magical place.
Oh, wow. And so you have been there ever since, huh?
Well, actually, the first place I came was in Wales. It was called the Abergavenny. It was a funny story because I had like, let's say that 150 pounds in my pocket. I landed in Gatwick Airport, which is like the second biggest airport in the UK, just after Heathrow. And I have to spend like almost 40 pounds on a bus ticket to go to Abergavenny. And I was like, oh my God, one fourth of my fortune is now gone. And then I was going there, and then I arrived, and my first job was at the restaurant, and they told me, "Oh, it's a one-star restaurant," and I was like, "Oh God, one star! It can't get worse than that." And then I have to explain that one Michelin star, that's not too bad actually. And so yeah, I didn't even know at the time what Michelin star means.
Okay, explain that to us because I don't know that I've heard of that.
It's a one Michelin star, so it's like Gordon Ramsay. He's got a three Michelin star restaurants, right? So like super, super good restaurant. So it was a nice first job. I was there for a few months, and then I decided I need to go to London. People sometimes say like, "Oh, why London?" Well, that's where the money is, right?
Yeah. Okay. So then what happened after that when you got to London?
So I always wanted. I had that big dream that I wanted to be successful. I had no idea at the time what success mean. I just wanted to be successful. I was reading lots of books about psychology and business and success and motivation and stuff like that, all those self-help books. I started like at age of 13 or 14 reading those books. So my head was full of those ideas that like, yeah, be successful. And then one day I decided that I need to have a mentor or someone who already achieved those great things, someone who already have loads of money and businesses. And I found one. I found a guy in London. He was living in Mayfair, which is like one of the most expensive areas in London and world, actually, because Mayfair is like absolutely expensive. And this guy is worth almost like, I think about £1 billion, something like that. So he's rich. And he was very rich at the time when I met him. And I said to him like, "Hey, I want to be successful. I want to have a lot of money, etc., etc." When he asked me like, "What's a lot of money for you?" I said like £50,000, and he kind of smiled a bit because £50,000 that's not really a fortune. But I was 19 and I didn't know that yet. And then he's like, "Oh, you need to start your own business." And I was like, "Cool, no problem. I'll start my own business. But what business?" And he just looked around and he saw a scaffolding somewhere and he's like, construction business. And I said, like, cool, cool, yeah, no problem, no problem. There's one tiny problem. I know nothing about construction. And he said those magical words. He said, don't create yourself a job, create systems, create a business. Business is not about creating yourself a job. It's all about creating systems and you delegating user other people, not using other people, but just, employing people to do the job for you. And
Yeah.
then the next day, I had my business cards printed. A week later, I had my really crappy website finished. And in the next 2 weeks, I had my first customer.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I think sometimes when we go in this and being young and can I say naive?
Oh, I was so naive. I'll tell you what. I can't remember the exact number, but I remember like today that my first customer, he's a very successful coffee shop owner in London. He's got quite a few of them. But that was his first coffee shop that we supposed to renovate. And I told him the price. I can't remember what was the price. Let's say £10,000. And then I said like, oh, that's not enough. I'm not going to make any money. And I called him and I said like, no, no, no. The price actually is 12,000. And somehow I did convince him to pay more. I had no idea how. I would be ashamed today to do something like this. Because like you don't do things like that. But anyway, he said yes, and it was very successful project. I found some contractors. They were very good. And yeah, that was my first project. It was kind of successful. And I remember that I made more money in 3 weeks' time, maybe 4 weeks' time, because it took us about a month to renovate that. And I made more money in 1 month than I would make like in few months. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but still.
And so that's when you were hooked, right? You're like,
Oh yeah,
"Oh, okay, I
yeah.
got this. I'll learn whatever I need to know.
Mm.
I'll figure it out," right?
Yeah, and then it's like, oh yeah, I want I want more and bigger projects. And eventually I found myself a business partner and we grew to 100K turnover a year and then 1 million turnover a year and then we started growing and growing and then we lost everything in 2007-8 when the big credit crunch came and we were so much in debt because most businesses they were just like, sorry, we don't have, that £50,000 that we own you, we don't have it, bye bye. It's
Wow.
just, the world was brutal at that time. And then I
Oh,
called my mentor. I called Patrick and I said like, oh my God, you know what happened, this happened, and like, oh my God, it's horrible. And he said like, oh, congratulations, that's your first bankruptcy. And I said, well, like, I thought you're going to be a little bit more supportive here, like, what's going on? It's like, no, no, you don't understand. That's good. Those things happen. Get used to it. Don't worry about it. It's just like start again. That's it. That's what entrepreneurs do. You fail, you fail, you fail, and then you just get up. But the reality is, if you fail and then you try again, it's not really a failure. It's a feedback. I always say it's the wrong F word, not a failure, feedback.
I completely agree. I never say failure. It's always a feedback, a learning experience, and let's try it again and let's do it a little different this time, right?
100%, it's just like sometimes people say like, "Oh, I tried so many things and I failed." Well, first of all, have you tried everything? I love when people come to me for coaching and they say like, "Listen, I tried everything." I'll be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. So, how many things have you tried? 1,000? Well, no, 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 no. Well, a little bit less. Okay. 500? No, 150? Like, how many things have you tried? Maybe two. It's like you haven't tried everything. So
Ex-
don't BS me here because you haven't tried. It's the same like when people say like, oh, I tried doing, I don't know, leaflets, for example. Oh, I distributed 500 leaflets in London, or it's like 500. You're doing 500 a day, 7 days a week, 12 months in a year, altogether, whatever, let's say two, three, 400,000 leaflets, and then you can say that it worked or it doesn't work, right? Because in business or in life, it's all about numbers. It's a numbers game, right? The more things you try, the more the probability that you're going to be successful goes up. It's just when they say like, the more I do, the luckier I get, right?
Jake, I tell people all the time, we talk about like Michael Jordan and how many shots he made. I said,
Exactly.
did you ever like look at how many he missed?
No, nobody remembered that, right? We all remember the good things, mostly, right? Maybe not always, but yeah, it's just like give it a go. People remember your successes, you know, because at the end of the day, when I look back, and I made so many mistakes, so many. I'll tell. Oh my God, one of my biggest mistakes. I also built a non-profit organization from two volunteers to over 600 volunteers here in London, right? And we were sending letters to very important people in the UK, including royal family, right? And one day I was addressing letters to Prince William, um, the Queen, lots of MPs, and I made a mistake, you know. Instead of Prince Harry, I said Prince Henry, and this is how I address it. And I was like, "Fuck's sake!" But funny thing is, they actually we received a letter from them thanking. Nobody actually mentioned that we make a mistake, but I was inside. I was like dead. But anyway, we all make mistakes, and now you're just laughing from those mistakes. I always say to people like, if you make a mistake, so what? If it doesn't matter a year from now, even six months from now, especially 10 years from now, just you're going to laugh from it anyway.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like, try something different. If it didn't work
Mm,
for you, right?
100%.
Try something different. Try a new path. I
Mm,
I just had the same thing happen to me. And so actually interviewing one of my clients here on the podcast, she gave me so many ideas. And I thought, oh my goodness. And when I was like promoting my book, I'm like, I gave up too fast.
mm,
And
mm,
so it was so nice to hear somebody else's insight, and she inspired me to go back out there and do it differently. She didn't know that she did, but she
mm,
did.
mm.
Okay. So that's why listening to others and having your mentors and your coaches, they're there to give you feedback and to help, but you're the one that has to take the action.
That correct, Um, not always, but more often than not, when you coach people or I coach people or any coaches, we don't really teach those people anything new. In most cases, they already know what to do. we just act as a person behind them to push them a little bit in the right direction. Well, some people they really need a proper kick in the ass, right?
Mhm.
But in most cases, it's just a small push, giving some feedback. We all live in that bubble, right? That it's difficult to see everything, and then there are people from outside, coaches, mentors, who will tell you like, "What about this and what about that?" And you can improve this and you can improve that. One of my mentors was a guy. His name is John, and John used to work with Steve Jobs, the Steve Jobs. Not working for him, but with him. And John, I mean, he's an amazing human being. He's American. Um, he used to live in London. That's why, I met him, and it was funny because I remember after many years when I asked him like, John, why did you mentor me? And he said like, because you asked. I was like, really? That's it? Yeah, lots of people has had access to me, and they asked me for money, they asked me for this, they asked me for contacts, and you just came in and said like, please mentor me. That's it. I don't need anything from you. Just tell me what to do and how to do it, and just give me a feedback and advice. And straight away he said yes, and he did mentor me, not coach, mentor me for quite a few years, and
That's
we really enjoyed it.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, that was, and and I have to say, John was always so tough on me after every single. I don't want to say coaching session, but just a meeting. Usually it was like a breakfast in central London. I was, I felt horrible. I was like, oh my God, he's so tough. And then after a few days, I was like, yeah, but he was right. And yeah, and then I did appreciate it after that. And then I kind of took my lessons, and my coaching is also quite tough. I'm a nice guy, but I'm into your face. I'm not here to please you. I'm here to help you, to get to the next level and then next level and then next level. Like playing a video game, you just keep leveling up.
You're right. Absolutely. And that was something that's the one thing that I've been working on too. But isn't it
Mm.
so easy? It's easier to see it in someone else where the areas
Mm.
that they need to work on. But what about when if it's ourself? I think
Mm.
that's where our coaches and mentors come in handy to help point out those things. And we want someone to be honest, sometimes brutally honest, right?
Yeah. I mean, you see, I'm from Central Europe, and in my country, people are straight to the point. We don't really sugarcoat. And some people are like, that's not very polite. Like British culture is very polite, very like when you talk to someone like, "Ooh, what a nice gentleman," right? Oh, his vocabulary is so great. Like, yeah, but sometimes you want to go to the point. It's like just don't go around the bushes, just get straight to the point. Don't sugarcoat that. And this is I like that style, and my
Yes.
clients like that style. Not everyone. It's just that I'm one of those people. You either love me or you hate me.
Mhm. Well, and if they want results, then
That's it. John was exactly the same with me. He was like, I said, like, John, everything is fine. There's nothing that I can, you know, make it better or improve. And he said, like, no, 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 no. What about this and what about that? I was like, fuck.
you're like, oh, okay. I asked for this, right?
Yeah,
But
but I asked for it. You are correct.
and I love that because I love that he said, you just asked.
Mm,
People, like you said, there are people are asking for money and this and that, but you're like, no, I just need someone to give me some pointers,
that's
and
it.
you found the right person. That took some confidence to go up there to him.
Yeah, I mean, but we all have to understand that confidence only comes from one place, doing things. That's it. Most people they just wait, they sit and like, oh, I'm waiting for my confidence. Wow, once my motivation and confidence will come, I will do it. No, no, it doesn't work this way. Motivation, confidence, it comes after doing things. And confidence is like a muscle. You have to go to the confidence gym every day, and then it grows. But if you don't work on your confidence, then you're going backwards. But
Right.
discipline, confidence, they're like muscle. You have to train them, and then they grow and grow and grow. Some people say to me like, "Oh my God, but you are so disciplined." First of all, I'm doing my best. Second, I've been working on my discipline for about 25 years now. Where, when I wanted to lose some weight about 25, maybe even over 25 years ago, because I was always quite athletic, but quite chunky, and I knew I need to lose, and I've started working on discipline a long time ago. So, like even now when I go for a 6 mile run every day, sometimes even like 90 days in a row, some people say, how can you be that disciplined? It's like discipline is discipline, You're not drinking your discipline shake in the morning. You just doing the damn thing. That's it.
Yes. And it makes you feel good.
100%. 100%.
And you want to continue doing that. So
Mm,
whatever that workout plan may be, it to them it might not be running 6 miles. It might be
could be
something
something
else,
else.
but figure it out. Find something you love.
Yeah. I mean,
It's not that hard.
it's not, but what is very important, about 10 years ago, maybe 9, 10 years ago, I created a coaching model that I called a vision GPS. And the vision is something that we want. You can call it a dream, your North Star, whatever, like your best life, however you want to call it, you want to call it. But most successful people, they just call it vision, right? When you think about Elon Musk, or maybe not the best example at the moment, or Arnold Schwarzenegger, or I don't know, Steve Jobs, right? They all have a vision, because vision is something that help us to, even when we don't have confidence, even if when we don't have motivation, or we have a bad day, that vision is something that will push us to actually do it anyway, right? Do I want to go for a run every day? No, of course not. Nobody have that motivation every day, but I know why I want to do it. And people say like, why? You're 40 years old and you want to go for a run every day. It's like, because when I'm going to be 65, I still want to go for if not for a run, for a fast walk, right? I don't want to be on a wheelchair or something like that. But you have to plan it. That's my vision. Your vision is for your entire life. And then the
Yes.
GPS, it's an acronym from goals, planning process, and systems. And that GPS in your life works exactly like the GPS in your car. If your vision is your destination, if you put in your GPS that this is where I want to go, your GPS will take you there. No matter what, right? It's as simple as that, but you have to have every single element to get there.
Yes. Okay. So if your GPS is taking you somewhere and there's, a road closed, what's the GPS do?
The GPS will recalculate. Like
It
like like the
reroutes
GPS.
you.
That's it. You say
Exactly.
like, okay, this road is closed. No problem. I always say to people like, if you're in the UK, you want to go from London to Edinburgh in Scotland, it's kind of straight line. But even if all the major roads are closed and you have to go all around, you're still going to get there. It will take you a little bit longer. Just stick to the plan. When people say like, "Oh, I tried and it didn't work out," no, no, you didn't stick long enough. Most plans are okay. Some are great, some are just okay, but most of them they okay. But you have to stick to it for long enough. As we know, overnight success takes 5 to 10 years. For some people, even 15.
Mhm.
But I always say to people, listen, if when people say like, oh my God, it's going to take 10 years, I'm going to be 10 years older. Well, how much older are you going to be in 10 years anyway? So you can be 10 years older and not be successful, or you can be 10 years older and then achieve a great success, whatever that success means to you, right? So just do it anyway.
Yes. And isn't it just the journey too that's of who we're becoming in the meantime? And you
Mm,
realize
mm,
it's not, the money and all of that was great, but it's not just that. It's the feeling that you get for achieving those things.
100%. I mean, we have to understand that actually, us human beings, what make us happy is progress, and that's probably the only thing that make us happy. progress in a relationship, progress with life, progress with your diet or losing weight or whatever, progress at the gym, progress with everything. If we're not making progress, we're just not happy, you know. And most people, they're not happy because they not make any progress, or that's a big mistake that lots of entrepreneurs do. They don't measure the progress, and they making lots of progress, but because they never stop and measure that progress, they think that they not making any progress. That's a big mistake. When I work with entrepreneurs, this is what they do. It's like, oh, I'm not that successful yet. You built a 25 million turnover business. What the fuck are you talking about that you're not successful? Well, yeah, but I'm not Steve Jobs, right? I'm not at 8 billion. Like, that's the big problem. If you're going to compare yourself, if you are at the if you playing that game and you are level 15 and you compare yourself to someone who is at the level 1000, you will always be depressed, you know. Only compare yourself to yourself from yesterday. That's the only person you should compare yourself. Get some inspiration. Like, I love Richard Branson. You know Richard Branson, the Virgin Group, right? And I take inspiration, but if I would compare myself to Richard Branson, I would feel depressed. It was like, okay, I don't have 400 companies that I created, right?
Right. But isn't it too? It's like celebrating the
Mm.
every win, all the small wins, celebrate those along the way. Because
Oh
if
yeah.
not, then you do get caught up in feeling, not seeing where your progress has been. And this is funny because tomorrow I am it's my 50th podcast episode. And
Mm.
so I'm like, I almost just act like that was nothing, and that's huge. I'm celebrating,
It's
I'm
massive.
excited, and the next 50 is going to come a lot faster.
Mm.
So
Yeah, people don't understand that most podcasts, most people who started doing podcasts, after 3 episodes, they stop. Some will get to 10, some will get to 20, not that many. But most people, they give up. But even the biggest podcasts on the planet, they started with 0 views or 5 or 10 views, right? Then 20, then 100. And they say like, oh, it's just 100. No, 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 no. It's not the first that will make you famous, let's say. It's the last 5 or 10 or 20, whatever, right?
yeah.
If you're going to do 200 interviews, the last one will suddenly, it's not suddenly, it's
Mm,
80-20 rule, you know,
yeah.
the Pareto principle, you know, that the first 80% of your journey you're only going to do 20% of all of the progress, and then the last 20% you're going to like skyrocket. But you have to go through the whole journey, right? Because the progress at the beginning, it can be very slow.
Yes. Yes, it
Mm,
can. So look, I know that you talked a lot about you do doing a lot of reading, and I see a lot of books behind you there.
mm.
So could you tell us like some of your favorite books and what have helped you move forward in your life?
Uh, yeah, 100%. So one of my favorite books is this book. It's called The Purple Cow by Seth Godin. Seth Godin is this marketing guru, and The Purple Cow, it, everyone who is in the business world should read that book, because uh, another big mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make is they think that their business is so special. It is special for them, but when you look from the customer perspective, your business is exactly the same like other businesses in your niche. So
Mhm.
imagine that you're driving a car somewhere in the countryside, it's beautiful weather, and then you see loads of cows and they look exactly the same. They look just the same, right? Interestingly enough, the patterns that they have on their skin, it's very unique, like extremely unique, like our fingerprints. You know, those cows, they're not the same, but they look the same. And your business, my business, in the eyes of customers, is just like another cow. But if suddenly you see a purple cow among those cows, your entire attention is on that one cow, right? It's like, oh my God, a purple cow. I never seen a purple cow before. And now you don't see those thousands of cows, you only see one. And so what that book teaches is like, if you want to be successful with your business, you have to become a purple cow. You have to stand out from the crowd somehow. That this is what when we talk about your unique selling proposition, right? You have to stand out, otherwise you will never ever be successful. Because today, in today's world, we have new currency, which is called attention. If people don't put attention to you and your business, you will not exist. That's why working on personal brand is so important these days. Like being on podcast, for example.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I love that you brought that up and everything. But here's the one piece that I think for a lot of people and for myself was that I didn't know who I was or what I wanted.
Mm.
So that's a whole nother piece of that puzzle is really figuring out who you are and what you want.
That's why when I said the vision GPS, you have to ask yourself a fundamental question, that is, what is it that you want? And as cliche as it sounds, this is one of the most important questions people should ask themselves in life. And it doesn't matter if you're 19 years old, 40 years old, or 60 years old, it's never too late, but you have to ask yourself, what is it exactly that you want? Because most people don't know. Most people, they don't have that destination. But once you start working, and remember, it's not that you're going to come up with that vision in one day or even a week. It takes time. Yes, some people can come up with within the month or maybe even 2 weeks or a week. And for some people, it might take the whole year. But once you have that vision, once you start answering this, once you start dusting off those dreams when you were a child, right, or very young, because I always say to people, dream big. Once you start coming up with that vision, all your decisions in life, they will be related to that vision, because once you have a vision, it's very easy to make decisions. Once you know where you're going, you know which road to take. If you don't have a destination, if you don't know where you're going, every road will take you there, because it doesn't matter. If you don't know where you're going, it's just, yeah, you know what I mean. But when you have precise when you know precisely what you want, you will get there eventually, because you will make way better decisions. Not even that, you will actually make decisions when most people, they procrastinate and they don't make any decisions because they don't know what to do. They have this fear of missing out, the FOMO effect. Like, oh my God, what if I'm going to leave the money on the table? You will always leave money on the table because you cannot do everything in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And really when it boils down to it, it's just take the next step.
Mm, yeah,
Just it's one
100%.
step at a time. It's one day at a time. Just do the next thing, but do something.
Exactly. You know, I teach my clients something that I call z um, have not even 0% days, which means do something every day that takes you a little bit, you know, closer to your vision, goals and vision. Every day, no days off, right? You don't have to do a lot. One day you can work on 100%, and it's difficult to work on 100% every day. Some days can be on 80%, some days can be 50, but if you have a day that you want to do just nothing, just do 1%. Send one email, but send an important email, right? Do something every day. Even if you're going on your vacations or holiday, as we say in UK,
Mm.
take a book, read a book, do something. Because most people, they average. And I always say to people, sorry for my language, but don't be fucking average. Work on yourself every single day for the rest of your life. And then you will succeed, whatever success means to you. But you have to work on yourself every day, every day. No, it's like when people say like, oh, people talk about balance in life. Like if you want to start a business, for example, you have to put 100% of your energy at the very beginning. It's like starting an airplane, from the airport. If you put 50% you know, to your engines, you will never take off. It's the same with the rocket, right? When Elon is sending his rockets to the space, you have to put 100% at the beginning, right? And then once you get your altitude, then you can put on 60%. But at the beginning, there's no balance.
Yes. And, as an entrepreneur, sometimes we say, hey, sometimes the kitchen's going to be a little messy, or that
Yeah.
you have to find your priorities. And if your goals are that important, like you said, some days you are in that 100% and you got
Mm.
to let that other stuff go. What is important to you?
Yeah, exactly. You know, when people say like, "Oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the time," that's not true. We all have exactly the same amount of time every day. It's not important to you. Your priorities, you haven't prioritized that thing. So don't BS me that you don't have time. Everyone have exactly the same amount of time every day.
Amen,
Mm,
Jake. That was it right there. I just said this the other day. I'm like, that is not true. You have
mm,
time. It's just not a priority for you.
that's it.
Decide what you want.
Mm. And and again, when people say like, "Oh, I'm not sure what is important," it means you don't have a clear vision for your life.
Mhm.
It's as simple as that because all decisions coming from that vision, from that clear vision that like this is what I want. And then when you have a decision to be made, you look at the decision and you ask, will this help me with my vision or not? As simple as that. Not everything is black and white in life, but sometimes some things are. Sometimes we just have this 0-1 things, like either it will help me or not, and you have to make a decision. If not, then I'm not going to do it. If it will help me, then just do it, and then don't hesitate. Just do it straight away.
Right. Do you do meditation or anything, or do you wait until you have clarity before you make the next move? Is that something you've worked on?
So it's interesting that you ask. You see, I've tried meditate like traditional meditation many, many times in the past, and somehow it didn't work. And then I went to a meditation guru in London, one of those people from India that who are like specialized. And I said like, I don't know why, but I don't know. I think I'm not good at meditating. And then he asked me a few questions, and he said one of the questions he said like, when your mind is like empty, or when you're not really thinking about anything but only one thing. It's like when I cook, I love cooking. When I cook, I only think about that cooking and I'm in that zone. And he said, like, this is your form of meditation. You see, it's an active meditation. Some people they just don't know how to sit down and think about nothing because it's almost impossible to think about nothing. But if you like, or when I go for a run, I go for a run and then I will listen to my book or to my podcast, or I will probably listen to this podcast one day when I will be running. This is my another form of meditation. So to answer your question, yes, I do meditate. It's just I use active meditation.
I love that. I do too. For me, I can be still and quiet sometimes, but going for a walk outside, that's where I get all of my clarity.
Mm,
So
mm,
that's active meditation. I love that.
mm.
And everybody has their own way, and just find out what works for you.
That's it. Like I probably have ADHD. I never checked it, but probably yes, right? And I had a potential customer the other day, and she was sitting down and telling me, "Oh, I have ADHD and I have dyslexia and I've got autism, or a little bit of autism, and this and this." And I was listening and I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, okay." Once we are run out of the list of your excuses, can we start working and start doing stuff? Because I have ADHD and I'm still successful. I'm dyslexic. So what, right? Get over it. That's it. When people say like people are very good at finding excuses, right? I have people coming to me and saying like, "Oh my God, I will never be successful because I wasn't born with the success chromosome or something like that." That's not true. Anyone can be successful, right? Anyone can make money or whatever the success means to you. especially like if you want to start a business, all business skills are learnable, all of them. So when someone will say like, "Oh, I'm not sure," and by the way, there are different types of businesses. You can just work for yourself, be self-employed. Uh,
Yeah.
talking about good books. There's another good, very good book for almost every entrepreneur, or at least people who are at the very beginning, which is called the. Actually, I've got it here as well. It's called the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Mm.
It's an excellent book because the E-Myth Revisited, it's actually a short. The E, it's the shortcut from entrepreneur, because most people don't understand that running a business or being an entrepreneur, you have to do it properly. Otherwise, you're going to create yourself a job. You're going to create yourself a prison, actually. You know,
Mm.
that's it's very difficult to escape because suddenly, you've been working 9 to 5, 5 days a week. Now you have to work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, no time off. And that's not the best place to be in unless you really love what you do, right? But most entrepreneurs, well, not most, but quite a lot of them, they go into that trap of entrepreneur trap. Working for themselves, very long hours, making loads of mistakes, not having time for family, blah 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 blah. Yeah, excellent. This is an excellent book that is
Okay.
helping people systemize their businesses. Because I
Okay.
always say, when people say like, "Oh, I'm a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur." For me, a real business is a business that function and grow with or without you. That's the real business. If you have to be there every day, it's not really a business, it's a job.
Mm. Yes. Yeah. And maybe there are, as we know, some days and that you put more into it. And at the beginning you
Mm.
might, but then you have to always, what do you do? Just like block off so much time a day and say, this is my time for my exercise, for my reading, get into the habit of family time or whatever that may
Mm.
be.
I mean, you have to be very good at time management, and one of the best thing in time management is delegation. So sometimes I have people, and I kind of run three different businesses at the moment. Coaching business is my main one because I love doing that, and I want to do this for the rest of my life because it's just thing that I love. I can do it for free, but I don't. Uh, and then I also have digital marketing agency, and I have like a lead generation agency for construction companies because I was in construction. I understand that industry. And sometimes people say like, "Oh my God, you must be extremely busy." And I would say like, well, it depends what you mean. I try to be very productive rather than being busy, and then I can have time to play my video games if I want to, because I love playing video games, or I want to spend time with family or my girlfriend or wherever, right? It's just like, but you have to be master of your schedule
Yep.
rather than schedule being a master of you. But because this is what happened to most people. Um, and
Yeah.
again, people procrastinate. We all procrastinate, right? By the way, I used to procrastinate a lot. I was so good at procrastination that I could teach it. I was that good, right? But we all procrastinate, but we have to learn how to procrastinate on the right things. And we have to prioritize those things, right? If something is not important, then you procrastinate on that.
Completely. Totally agree with that. Jake, tell people you have this like offer a strategy session. Um
Yes, I offer initial consultation session to all people who approach me. Well, obviously, I'm not going to meet with everyone.
Right.
There's a selection process, let's say. But yeah, I have this initial consultation, which is completely free. This session usually lasts for about 90 minutes, 2 hours, sometimes little, even longer if necessary. It's completely free. This is something that's, to be honest with you, I spend probably more time on free sessions than the paid sessions, but I love it. I love it. Sometimes people come to me for the initial consultation sessions, they will get so much knowledge. They say like, oh, I need to leave, and because I have like 3 weeks or 3 months time plan that I can follow after one session, right? So, but yeah, they're
And
very powerful.
this is your website, and we'll have that also in the comments and everything below. We'll
Cool,
include
cool.
that. Okay. And yeah, anything else you want to share?
God, I can talk probably for the next 5 or 6 hours. So please don't,
Well,
don't ask another question.
you have given us amazing information. I love this. You've been so helpful. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you. This was so good. We appreciate you. You guys, you had to have learned something today. Oh my gosh. You know what? Actually, share it with us. Tell us what you found most important and what hit you, because if it wasn't procrastination, or that's one thing I know that I think we can all work on, but let us know what it was. And thank you for coming today. And I'll tell you what, also, we are now looking for sponsors. So we want to sponsor you. We want to showcase you on the platform here. This platform is growing every day. And so I want to get your message out as well. Thank you, everybody, again for being here today. Thank you, Jake, for being here. I appreciate you. And for all of the little nuggets that you gave us. You're amazing. Thank you. We'll have to have you on here again, maybe in the future. Okay.
That would be nice.
Yes. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day. And until next time, I'll see you all later.